Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody. This is Joe at the Middle Ground. Mike, hope this catches everybody doing well. I just want to give some quick updates on the news of the day. The Israel-Iran conflict seemed to be simmering down, but now seems to be sparking up. President Trump, not that long ago, said that we now have complete and total control over the skies of Iran, even though he said we weren't going to get into it. So I'm not quite sure what that means. Today both countries launched another wave of attacks on each other. Apparently Israel is targeting military leaders in Iran, which in a conflict to me seems kind of like, okay, hey, that's what someone's going to do. Doesn't mean I agree with this conflict, no, but there's estimates out there saying that at least 220 people have been killed since Israel began bombing Iran on Friday. They're saying only 24 Israelis have been killed so far. That is it's a touchy subject. I know they're saying the president has authority to a degree on this. We got enough going on. If Israel wants to pick a fight, let them. That's their choice. But I think for the most part, we should stay out of it. According to Israel, they've set Iran's nuclear program back decades, however you want to call it, right? So if that's the case, go home. You did what you said you're going to do. Now, it's no different to me than what they've been doing somewhere else. You accomplished your goal, go home. If that was your true goal, go home. But that's just my opinion. I'm not a politician. I'm not on the boots on the ground there. Nothing in that nature, nor do I claim to be. But you can only have so much war going on at one time before it becomes a problem. So I really kind of hope that, Israel and Iran can really seem to iron this out. But the problem is a lot of this goes more than just politics. It's religious as well. And that complicates everything. Benjamin Netanyahu, he's definitely, some say dangerous. Some say he's very patriotic for his country and his people. I say that he does not use enough tact that he could in the beginning. And then I don't feel he recognizes that, okay, hey, you did what you said you're going to do, time to go. I'm not knocking him, but that's just my opinion. So let me know if you guys think any different. Like I said, I think they really need to calm down this conflict. And, we need to, this is not how you accomplish peace. You don't accomplish peace through more war. It just doesn't happen, not long term anyways. The last thing we need is another escalation in conflict. Let's switch back over to immigration, one of our favorite subjects. The president had a pause on ICE arrests for farms, hotels, and restaurants in certain areas of the country. Well, apparently that has been lifted, and they're going back to their original stance. I don't think anybody's okay with anybody harboring a violent criminal. I have not met an immigrant or an American who's okay with a violent criminal being here. But a lot of these workers are not. We need to take the Ronald Reagan approach, I think, for amnesty for peaceful people. I think that's quite okay. Amnesty for peaceful people. And these operations that they are doing target the employment of illegal networks that undermine American workers and hurts our labor markets, which they're not wrong, right? And I'm not knocking immigrants for this because it's people taking advantage of them. Illegal immigrants, undocumented, whichever words you want to use, phrase I should say. But if you can pay two workers, one illegal, one American, $10 an hour each, and I'm not, obviously, wages are different, right? Well, your employer has to match if you're a citizen, right? You're on the payrolls, your employer has to match your taxes that you pay to the government. Okay, so let's say, for instance, you pay the government $100 in taxes. Your employer has to match it. Okay, your employer has to pay unemployment taxes on you, all sorts of stuff, right? So if you can get somebody that's undocumented, you're only paying them flat $10 an hour. You're saving anywhere from $3 to $4 or $5 an hour, depending on the situation, right? So that's kind of just the basic of economics. Not a lot of people know that your employer has to match your taxes. So, that factors into it. And I'm not saying that's right to take advantage. I don't think so. I think that, we need to offer amnesty to a lot of these workers, put them on the payrolls, have them contributing. They do contribute to society through their work, but have them contributing to the system. We do need more people paying into things like Social Security, Medicare to help keep it solvent. You've got a pretty easy thing there to help, keep some of these things solvent. You know, it just doesn't make sense to me that we're rescinding this, right? Uh, I think they were only averaging 660 arrests slash deportations a day. Now they're up to 1,200. Some say that the White House wants up to 3,000. Even with this, President Trump would not match President Obama's deportations. I think that's, I don't want to say fair to note, but I think that's something we should know, right? So why is it as much of a concern now in the media, but it wasn't back then? It wasn't pushed. I'm not saying that there's grand conspiracy. I'm just saying let's be a little suspect of it, right? But I also am stressing and the state for peaceful people who are here holding jobs that are being taken advantage of, trying to work and make money. I think that that's okay. Let me know. Let me know if you hear anything different. I know Congress is working on some things for that. Like I said before, we need to kind of streamline the immigration process too, to make it easier for people who are here doing things like farm work, restaurants, right? If they want to get a working visa. So, I'm okay with it. Moving on, I'm sure rest in peace to the politicians that were shot in Minnesota. The president declined to give Governor Tim Walz a call to talk about it. Pretty much said, what's the point? I think in a situation like this, it doesn't matter what's the point. It matters that we need to do it. Whether this person's a Democrat, whether this person's a Republican that did it, I've heard both. It doesn't matter. Political extremism like that, Donald Trump had the same thing done on his life, right? Except for they didn't kill him. It's just not something that should be tolerated in the United States, no matter what side you're on, and anybody, no matter what political party you align with, we should work to get rid of it. It's very, very sad. Very sad that we're in this thing, and these are kind of what we're fighting about, right? I feel like we're better than that as a country. I just wish our leaders would use a little bit more tact sometimes. Sometimes not every situation requires a response. So, take that for what it is. Moving on, Purdue Pharma, Louisville lockout, and, some of the communities with all 50 states and territories, they've agreed to $7.4 billion settlement with Purdue Pharma over its opioid crisis. Feels like such a small drop in the bucket compared to all the people that have suffered from this. It's always rough when someone goes through this. You know what I mean? We don't ever want to see anybody suffer, or go through it, right? It's just not okay. Latest thing for, excuse me, for the inflation has come out. Inflation has cooled. I think the United States we're a shade above 2% now. It ticked up a little bit last month. Rate changes were unchanged for the rates, so central bank has not done it. The Eurozone is continuing to lower rates for the second straight month in a row. Their inflation now it did tick up a little bit towards the end of last year. Now it is right about 2%. So they're actually doing better than the United States in inflation. So, we got that kind of stuff going on. Just some basic news updates. If you want to see different, items on here, this, like I said, just a quick update. Thursday, we got the new podcast dropping with candidate for the Missouri House. He's a great guy. It was a great podcast. We got a lot of great shows coming up. I'm pretty excited for it. And if you need to, there's a great book for your kids. Go on Amazon, search for Bob's Lake Adventures. It'll be a fun time for you and your kids. It's my first published book, inspired by my son Henry, who has special needs. He loves it, keeps him interested, and it's really helping him. So, let me know what you think. Check it out, buy the book. It's not expensive, $9.99. All right, everybody. Hope you have a good day. Talk to you tomorrow.